In Season 7 of Game of Thrones, Jon seeks allies to help the North fight the White Walkers, Daenerys finally arrives at Westeros with her army, Arya returns home to Winterfell and reunites with her sister Sansa, whilst Cersei plots and schemes to ensure power for the Lannisters. All the while, the Night's King and his ever-increasing army of the undead march onwards towards civilization. I did think Season 7 was an improvement over the previous one, not by much, it wasn't amazing or anything, but it definitely had its moments. It started slow and clunky, but finished strongly, putting all the pieces together perfectly for the final season, The Great War. Much of the issues I had with this season were pretty much the ones from the last few carried over. I found Game of Thrones has dipped quite a lot in quality, so much so that I'm about a year late watching this season simply from lacking interest. Since the writers caught up with the books and now have nothing to pivot off, the dialogue became generic and the storylines a lot more predictable. The show had developed a fully fledged girl power outlook, everyone can seemingly teleport now, and in killing off so many main characters, there weren't actually too many great actors left in the series. I guess they need money for the effects. Speaking of which, it seems whenever there's a slow season with not much going on, you can count on a big expensive battle concluding the season, and it happens again here. The acting is one of the things that took a hit more than most things. As the actress who stuck out right from these shows' early days, Emilia Clarke continues to add to her collection of cringeworthy moments, and it's difficult to be invested in Kit Harington's monotonous delivery meant to inspire and stimulate his people. The two are actually the main characters of the show, and there's a few plot developments and revelations regarding these two characters that will have teenagers squirming with glee but everyone else rolling their eyes at the predictability of it all. The Stark sisters, again, not the most charming actors around, with the older one still doing the moody teenager thing she's been doing since season 1, and the younger one hilariously inept at playing a dangerous assassin. The season has a fair share of goofy moments. There was a truly laugh-out-loud fight scene where a ship stealthily and unidentified bulldozes its way into another. And what follows is a Power Rangers showdown between two sets of characters I don't think anyone really cares about. And that's one of the main issues with the season, I guess. It's that nothing really happens. It feels like, as I said, the pieces are being put together to launch the finale, but watching the players arrive at a stadium for the World Cup final isn't as interesting as watching the actual final. One of the more bizarre things about the season were all the reunions. There's loads of characters who were enemies at one point now having to team up because they both share allegiances to the same queen, for example, or friends who are now on opposite sides and kind of nod to each other as they pass. It does get a bit weird, and it's difficult to remember why each specific character has a grudge with another. And it does seem on many occasions a character's characteristics change quite dramatically, or they take a back seat in order for the show to be able to fit everyone in the same scene. And at the end of the day, like one character points out, the houses and allegiances and queens don't even matter because there is a bigger enemy coming. So all of these storylines kind of go around in circles with the sharp character dynamic and deep themes put to a side in order to just have the characters and us, audience, play a waiting game. There's a lot of scenes that don't make sense and seem only to be there to pad out the runtime. An example would be, and spoilers here, Littlefinger attempts to play the Stark sisters against each other so that Sansa eventually decides to execute her sibling. They are 2 steps ahead of him, however, and it's him that gets bumped off. And the duo's bond is even stronger. That's all nice and well, but then why were there so many scenes of the sisters alone that Littlefinger couldn't have known about unless he had his face pressed against the bedroom door, of them both arguing and threatening each other? It's another clear example of the entire season having descended into a melodramatic soap opera, especially with the way Littlefinger's execution is set up in his last scene, which from a legal standpoint wouldn't be allowed. It's not the strongest of seasons, I did enjoy it, but what I enjoyed was spectacle more than anything else. Dragons taking out tens of men in a second, a fight between the wall that has no logistical reason to exist, but like a lot of stuff in the season, it looked cool. You ask yourself, what exactly did Tyrion say to Cersei in their scene together to influence her to join their cause? It started well, but we just kind of cut to another group of characters, and then Cersei comes out and has already changed her decision. What exactly was the Night King's plan if he didn't suddenly get a massive undead dragon? How was he going to take down the wall? It's a season built upon its spectacle, and spectacle alone. The thematic weight and interesting character dynamics of the past are pretty much gone. It was a decent season, but it's difficult to shake the feeling that it's a placeholder for the next one, that it gets a pass simply because we're all waiting to see what happens next. Thanks for watching.